All right, it looks like that's working. So I am going to get the lighting set up and everything like that. Let's see. Been live for 16 seconds. Okay. I'm gonna hit my channel. Live right now. All right, so we got 3 people watching. Say hello to me and give me a good emoji. Give me a good emoji. I like the emojis. Do something creative. And if you have any questions at all, we are going to start in just a minute. And you can put the questions down and we'll go from there. So what I was going to discuss tonight for you early birds is that yesterday I had a patient and she kept saying stuff and it just irked me. And it was almost like before I could actually explain anything, she kept saying something else that made it even worse. And that's what I'm going to start out with tonight. And that's the story that I'm going to tell you. Hello, Steve. Hey, dude. What's up? Let me get this over here. Okay. So, yesterday, this patient comes in and says to me, hey, hello, Aussie girl. Hey, those are cool. Monkey see, no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. There you go. So this patient says to me she had a very difficult workout 3 days prior to her appointment with me. She comes in and says, oh, I'm so sore. And she says to me, oh, I have a workout plan today. My personal trainer has me working out, and the personal trainer is online. So I think it's Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. And so the Instagram personal trainer gives her planned workouts to do. And she said that she was so sore, she could hardly walk up a flight of stairs. She couldn't get off the toilet. So she wanted me to do something to try to get her soreness to go away because she had an appointment. She had a workout literally after my appointment. And I thought, oh, that isn't going to work. We just can't get rid of muscle soreness like that. So she says to me, well, I have a lot of lactic acid still in my muscles. And that's when my left eye started twitching. And then she said, I really need to stretch before I did the workout. And that's when my right eye started to twitch. And she was planning on doing the workout, and she actually said something that was intuitive. She said, I don't know if I can do it. And that's when I really said, aha, that's true. So let's talk about that, because everyone has probably done that and tried to do a workout. I'm going to say failed, and just worked out so hard you can't move. And what do you do for it? Well, what's happening, number one, and that'll explain why most things don't work. So this patient told me that she should have drinking a lot more water after the workout. And the idea was to flush out the lactic acid. So let's get something straight. When you work out and you start to feel a burning sensation, you are actually feeling the development of lactic acid build up in your system. And that lactic acid is causing you pain. And that's what makes it difficult to continue the workout. The lactic acid is metabolically, it's waste material from the cell that it's going to reuse as energy. But the lactic acid actually makes you hurt at that moment. But the moment you stop the workout, literally 10 minutes later, the lactic acid is starting to flush out of your system. So you've got this situation where people think that lactic acid causes muscle soreness 3 days later. It does not. Lactic acid is really only in your system for a short period of time. When you consider that people think that lactic acid needs to be flushed out might mean that you need to drink a lot of water to flush or dilute the lactic acid. Drinking water does not work to reduce soreness. Muscular soreness does not benefit from drinking lots of water. Now, if I'm wrong, tell me so in the comments section. But all you have to do is Google what causes muscular soreness 3 days later, post-isometric muscle soreness. But make sure and Google something where you're getting a reliable source. Don't go to, the guy with the abs type of thing. Actually look at physiology. And this is simply if you have a child that's in high school or a grandchild that's in high school, grab their biology textbook. It's probably in there. So this is why drinking water does not work. Now, what's actually happening is when you do a workout, you are actually creating damage to the cells as well as the soft tissue components like the fascia and the tendon. Hello, Constance. Around the area. So what you're actually feeling when you have pain 3 days later, you're experiencing actually muscle damage and soft tissue damage. So when people are sore, they've done this where they take a biopsy of the muscle and the tissue, and it literally looks like the muscle tissue exploded. So normal muscle tissue is made up of actin and myosin, and the fibers slide like this. Well, my fingers are nice and healthy right now. Imagine for a moment if someone took a knife and chopped up all my fingers into shreds. That's literally what it looks like on the inside of you when you work out extremely hard. So drinking water doesn't rebuild the tissue. The worst thing you can do is think, because people have pain, and as a result of that muscular damage, they have less range of motion. So they think they're stiff, so they think that stretching the tissue will actually make it better. And the answer is no, because when you've torn the tissue and it's become damaged and bleeding on the inside, literally, the worst thing you can do for that tissue is yank on it and try to stretch it more. This is why literally all studies in the literature have shown that static stretching does not relieve post-isometric, post-exercise pain. So we've got a problem here. The problem is that drinking water does not reduce muscular soreness. Stretching does not reduce muscular soreness. Now we have to ask ourselves what's happening physiologically when you exercise. And the answer is, when you exercise and you damage the tissue, what needs to occur is you need two things. You need, number one, protein synthesis in order to rebuild the tissue. The second is you need time. Now, how do you get protein synthesis? You need to allow foods to go into your mouth that have some protein, and it doesn't matter where you get the protein. You just need something that has amino acids in it, and you're going to use that food or amino acids, and you are going to rebuild the muscle. Now, that takes time. And in order for that protein or the amino acids to get to the muscle, it needs to be in your bloodstream. So you need the muscles to absorb all this protein and rebuild that muscular tissue prior to the next workout. So let's see, turns out the owner had been painting his house, causing excruciating pain. So here's a problem. The issue is that what you need to rebuild the muscle is you need time, you need blood flow to the muscle, and you need the constituents in that blood flow to get to the muscle and rebuild the tissue. You do not want to exercise again when the tissue's all damaged, because then you're just re-injuring it. And this is a lot of times why people will exercise, let's say 3 days a week, but if they're exercising hard when they are not fully recovered from the previous workout, you're just digging yourself a deeper hole, okay? So hopefully that helps. So this girl, I'll answer your questions in a sec. So this girl said a number of things wrong. She said, I need to drink more water. Sorry, it doesn't help with soreness. I need to stretch. Actually, that's counterintuitive, because if the tissue is damaged, you simply need to wait for the muscle to rebuild. You don't want to yank on damaged tissue. If I had a cloth, if my shirt was torn, I'm not going to fix it by stretching the tissue. How would you fix the torn fabric? You would stitch it back together, and that's what your nutrition does to the muscle, but you need time. So she was planning on working out. Bad idea, because you're just digging yourself a hole. If you are dedicated to working out, the thing to do is you want to make sure, number one, your nutrition is good, because you need those amino acids. Number two, if you're going to work out, you want to get more blood flow to that area. So the best thing to do after you've worked out too hard and now you're super sore is to do a light type of aerobic exercise of that muscle tissue that brings blood flow to the muscle but does not cause a strain to the muscle. Now, when I say a strain, what I mean is that, let's say you lift a weight and you're going to lift a military press like this, okay? When you lift the weight, that's called a concentric contraction. That doesn't produce a lot of muscular soreness. But when you lower the weight down, that is what causes the muscle soreness. So a better idea would be to do some type of range of motion exercises, just joint rotations. You could do exercises where you get blood flow in there, such as cycling for your legs or swimming for your body. Those are great exercises that bring blood flow to the muscles but have no eccentric component. So I thought that was interesting yesterday. So so let's get to some questions here. See what you guys are doing. Hey, let me know how you guys are doing with this pandemic. Things are starting to kind of slow down here in our area. And by the way, before we get started, right at the bottom where you're typing at the chat area, there's someone just gave me some bananas, avocado, and lemon. Very cool, Nicholas. But give me some good emojis. Just see if you can come up with some original emojis. And also right next to the emoji, if you'd be so kind to do this, there is a little dollar sign. And that dollar sign is called Super Chat. And if you donate like 99 cents or $1 or $5 or $10 or whatever you want to donate to the channel, it helps me with this. So go ahead and do the super chat. I would appreciate it. If you do the super chat, you get a little bell, okay? So let's see, do doctors get help and advice from you? Yes, I actually have a number of different physicians that see me as patients, because people sometimes think that doctors are immune to problems, and they're not. So I think this week I see a lot of nurses actually. they hurt. I saw an OBGYN, I saw a primary care doctor, and I saw two dentists. So, dentists actually of all the professions have it the worst off because they only work from one side of the chair. They're always twisting and rotating, and they're using very fine instruments with their hands all day. So actually, I do quite a bit of extremity adjusting. I adjust their fingers and I adjust their wrists because carpal tunnel syndrome is very common in dentistry. So I do that. I'm an Army Ranger and we work out thoroughly in excruciating pain. I didn't really, let me see if I can get that full question here. Dude, not sure how we recover so fast. Well, if you're an Army Ranger, I assume that you're young. That plays a role. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Let's see. In your experience with patients who have disc bulges, L4, L5, tingling down the legs, how long does it take for them to heal the disc using McKenzie press-ups? It's progressive. So what that means is that it's not like you can say if I start on May 1st, by May 15th, you're cured. It doesn't work like that. It's kind of like losing weight. You just kind of get better as time goes on. So with herniated discs, I would say on average, 6 months before the person has forgotten they had a herniated disc. But within the first month, I'm expecting patients to feel at least 50% better with a herniated disc. Very often the McKenzie protocol, what happens with the McKenzie protocol is almost literally within a couple days, they notice they have control over the symptoms, but you can't do McKenzie all day. So you have to do it progressively. That's a good question. So any advice for finding the most comfortable, best position or geometry on a bike? Yes, for Ryan. The answer is Steve Hogg. Go to his website. It's called Bike Fitting, Steve Hogg Bike Fitting. And he's from Australia. And I don't know how the translation from our money to their money is, but it's like 25 bucks, I think, for Australian. And I've done it for a number of years. I paid him for 3 years to ask him questions about my bike fitting. And I'll tell you, wow, that dude is super smart, way smart. He doesn't know it, but to me, he sounds like a chiropractor. He's not a chiropractor, but he speaks like a chiropractor. He speaks in terms of cause and effect. He speaks of looking for compensations in the body. So I would go to his website if you are trying to find a bike fit for an L4, L5 disc. And there is a way around it. But it takes a little bit of work. Okay. All right. Thank you. You are in preparations down here. So you guys have 32 ICU beds, 99 beds at your work. So how many of them are full? That's what I'm curious of, or is it starting to slow down? You know what I mean? So like, do you guys is it 99 people are in those beds and you have 300 people out the door, waiting for the bed? I don't know. Because our hospitals are empty in our area. Our hospitals are kind of empty. And in my building, one of my neighbors, ironically, is a ventilation, he sells ventilators. And he's given them to, I believe, USC and some hospitals. And, we need a couple of them, but nowhere near what I'm not saying the media is lying to us, but it just seems to be slowing down. So, is it safe to eat one egg every day? Yeah. So you can eat one egg every day. I actually eat probably 3 personally. So figure 21-ish. Sometimes we eat eggs a little more, depends on my workout schedule. But I eat 21-ish eggs per week. I haven't died yet. I'm probably not going to die of the eggs. I'll die of something else. But no, what you have to do is you have to know how your body reacts to eggs, and also are you genetically predisposed towards having high cholesterol. The other issue is cholesterol really the culprit? It may not be. Also, when we're done with this live thing, go to my YouTube channel, go to playlists, or go to the little icon on how to search, and just type in eggs. And I think I have about 4 different videos about why eggs are actually not going to raise your cholesterol. And basically, it has to do with lecithin, which is ironically in the yolk. So, hasn't hit peak yet. We're at a 900 bed facility, usually 32 ICU for all patients, including trauma, blah, blah, blah. Really not that, yeah, so it just hasn't really done it. I read this year, all this time on Reddit. I'm not on Reddit. I don't know what Reddit is. Sorry. Can a back adjustment make a disc bulge worse, cause more harm if the chiropractor does a wrong adjustment? Yes. I mean, that's the same with every type of medical procedure. If the doctor gives the wrong drug to the patient, does the patient have a negative reaction? The answer is yes. There is no perfect healthcare system where everything works perfectly 100% of the time, every single time. So if the chiropractor does an adjustment to the wrong area and does it too hard or too firm, yeah, you're gonna get sore. But that could be said for any medical procedure. So the media caused mass hysteria. Yeah. Actually, so here's the thing. I did some videos on this, and I'm not sure, but with this COVID-19 and things, everybody's talking about stay indoors, stay indoors, stay indoors, don't go out, don't go out. And that is one way to deal with it, and you should do it. Basically, what I joke with patients sometimes, just don't lick sick people, and don't let them sneeze in your face, you know? But the reality is, if you just hunker down and stay inside and don't go near anyone, it's literally impossible to catch the flu or the coronavirus. It's impossible to catch any disease if you're simply not around it. So the idea behind social isolation is whoever's sick, if they just stay indoors, eventually either they'll die or their immune system will fight that infection and actually create a situation where within a couple weeks, the virus doesn't live in their body anymore because it's dead. If you have a strong immune system, generally speaking, you will fight off most infections. So you should stay indoors. That way you're simply not exposed. Number 2, you should wash your hands. But here's the deal. You should wash your hands if you're touching people, right? If you're touching doorknobs and you don't know who touched that doorknob. If you're touching carts at the supermarket, you should wash your hands. But if you're in your own house and you live by yourself, you're not exposed to the virus. So washing your hands 30 times a day isn't going to help you. Likewise, the mask, you have to understand the healthcare professional should wear a mask. And the reason why is because we're surrounded by all these people. We don't know who's sick and who isn't. But if you're in your house and you're by yourself and you're wearing a mask, you're not around anyone. So I find it interesting that in our community, there's some people that are really freaking out hard, and they're wearing gloves, they're wearing a mask in their own car, and there's no one else in the car. It isn't really protecting you that much. So that's one aspect of getting rid of this coronavirus. The second aspect of it is, and no one's really talking about this, and I'm shocked, is the other thing is, how do you protect yourself? Well, what you have to do is you have to have a strong enough immune system that if you get this virus, you're ready. So nobody's saying this, but the best thing that you can do is literally strengthen your immune system. Because what do they say about the coronavirus? Or every year it's the same thing with the flu. It's the immunocompromised people that are more likely to die. So the newborns, the old people, the very sickly, those people should not catch the flu because they don't have a good immune system. They could die. because that bug will get them. But what if you're young and healthy, or even, it doesn't even matter if you're young and healthy. Why don't you do this anyway? We should be doing this constantly. Is why don't we all strengthen our immune system so that if I should happen to get the virus, your immune system is able to fight it off. So that's something. I made a couple videos. Unfortunately, they you gotta love it. They got demonetized. Like I was saying something crazy, and so I've, if you go to playlists, hit the nutrition area, you'll come up with tons of stuff. I myself, tonight had garlic, raw garlic in a marinara sauce with some stuff, and so garlic kills everything for the most part. Or either way, no one wants to be around you. It was good though. Let's see here. Blah. Adjust the outside of the. Yeah. So again, the mask. The idea behind the mask is probably just if you scratch yourself or touch your own face, at least you're just touching the mask, right? Do you think the malaria medicine will work as per Trump? I don't really want to talk about politics, but the only way to know if a drug works is you have to try it. And one of the problems with research is it does take time. And we don't have a lot of time. So, yeah. So, let's see. Did my question go through? I don't know. Hey, Constance, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So Constance, do you have any specific question that you would like to ask? If schizophrenia is due to an abundance of dopamine, then why is it not an enjoyable experience? Well, that's a good question. I'm not an expert in schizophrenia. Hey, Ryan. Thank you. Did I buy anything cool during the quarantine? Actually, to be honest, Ryan, we bought toilet paper, but not because we really needed it, because one day we were at the supermarket and we noticed it. I haven't bought a whole lot, ironically. Oh, that's not true. You know what I did buy during the quarantine, unfortunately? At my office, I had to buy, oh, it was so funny. So my office manager and I, Vicky, were standing next to the file cabinet, and she was filing, and like an earthquake in California, we were standing there, and the file cabinet literally collapsed on top. It didn't hit her, it didn't hit me, but we had files all over the floor. And so I had to buy a $700 file cabinet. And then what else did we had? Then we had to buy. We bought a lot of gloves for the office, and so it was an expensive month. It was an expensive month. Where did you purchase your frames? What frames? Frames for what? I'm not sure. You mean my bicycle frames or frames for photos? I'm not sure. Bill Gates has a nasty history with vaccinations in third world countries. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Any thoughts on ionic foot detox machines? I'm contemplating purchasing ones. I remember those were popular. The ionic foot bath, basically machines, they're probably pretty cool. I have a friend who's a chiropractor in Camarillo. I'm sorry, in Colorado, and he had one, and I know he used it for a long period of time. And he'd get a lot of patients that really found that they liked it. But then on the flip side, there were patients that it didn't seem to do anything. So like most things, if you can get one for cheap, it'd probably be better off. Someone asked, what is my favorite food? The one in front of me. I love food. On a serious note though, what is my favorite food? I'm gonna say the food right after a 4-hour bike ride because it tastes so good. So, a lot of things, by the way, a lot of things on my YouTube channel are not just researched and put on YouTube. This is the way I eat. So if you go to, again, my playlist section and just go through all the nutritional stuff, I try my best to eat what would help me the most health wise. And but I would say, if I had to say, I would say Mexican food. And I'm a California boy. Glasses. Oh, my frames. Oh, you want to know where I got my frames? Well, at the eye doctor, of course. It's true. Glasses frames. Okay, yeah. Don't buy a foot bath. They're a scam. Look it up on YouTube. It's snake oil. Okay. Well, like I said, I have a friend who's a chiropractor in Colorado, and people get weird stuff in their feet. Fungus. I know someone recently that got a fungus and had to go to the foot doctor and had their toenails chopped off. So that was probably a lot of fun. Does this pandemic resemble anything biblical? The rapture? Good question. Please do more videos of you adjusting and explaining it. I like those. What's funny, Steve, is I don't get a lot of views on those. And there's a couple factors. The first is, if you watch my videos, you'll see the patients that I see are not the same types of patients that most chiropractors have on their YouTube channel. You know what I mean? And they're normal humans. They're normal people. And I've asked a lot of patients, hey, would it be okay if we did a demonstration on camera? And quite frankly, a lot of patients don't want to do it. They don't want to be on camera, and they feel self-conscious, and I respect that. And I let them know that the camera is just a fly on the wall. And if you watch a lot of other channels, and I don't want to bash them, but a lot of other channels, we have to understand that YouTube is entertainment, and it's not really my style. But I'm not going to hire Instagram models to be adjusted out by the pool or something like that. That just seems creepy to me. I did do a video with a colleague of mine where we actually talk about some of the hot topics within chiropractic. And we discuss this, that there is an appropriate way to dress when you do see a chiropractor. And so people are getting a false sense of what chiropractic really is professionally. And, let's face it, that's what drives views, So it is what it is. Please do more of what I eat in a day. Water. Okay, I could do it. It's already on my channel, by the way, just so you know. Now the problem with me personally is I can come up with some ideas of what would be appropriate things to eat or what's the healthiest thing to eat. The problem is I personally am very boring. I have found what works for me personally. What gives me the most amount of energy, what makes me feel the best. And when I go into the doctor, for a checkup, I want to be healthier than my doctor. So, and that's usually the case. So the issue is I eat pretty much the same things every single day. And it makes it easy, so you don't have to think about what to eat. You don't have to think about what you do when you go shopping. And this is what I suggest to patients, some patients they want variety. Every single meal has to be totally different. And I feel like, okay, well, that's difficult. If you can come up with healthy foods that you know that give you energy, and make you feel fantastic, why not just eat that every day? It makes it so much easier. But I could do that, what I eat in a day. Actually, I did one. I remember one for, I did one with the cycling. And the cycling, by the way, I have a couple cycling videos in queue. I apologize for having cycling videos. But I consulted some YouTube experts and they said, you got to cut that out. You got to stop with the cycling. You got to stop with the paddle boarding. You got to do just one thing on your channel. Otherwise, it confuses the algorithm for YouTube. And I was like, yeah, but it's kind of health, isn't it? Aren't I a health channel? And they said, no, you're not. This is not. If you want your channel to succeed, you need to stop doing cycling. So I have a couple cycling videos in queue already, and I'm just going to let them ride. But I opened another channel called Cycling in Southern California, and my goal with that channel is to do just pure cycling. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm going to do some videos about what to eat during long distance cycling, and also what to eat to increase your power and blah, blah, blah. So if you're into cycling or you're into sports nutrition, that type of thing, I'm showcasing what's great about cycling in Southern California, because we get a lot of tourists. I mean a ton of tourists from all over the world that want to come literally to our area. Couple reasons. We're 8 miles from the beach. We have In-N-Out Burger. We have the outlet shopping mall, and we have the Santa Monica Mountains. It's a dream come true. Let's see here. Someone has a scoliosis in the middle of the shoulders, in between the shoulders, okay? I noticed some upper exercises irritate it. I use only exercise that don't cause a special feeling of pinched nerve. Is there a special exercise? The answer is yes, and you're actually figuring it out. Here's a good concept that if you get the concept, you can start figuring this out yourself. So this is for Constance. Is if you have a scoliosis and you notice certain exercises do not do you good, they're not going to do you good. So a general clue is if it hurts to do them, and we're talking about a difference between actual muscular pain, like I discussed in the beginning of this live feed, where the lactic acid is burning, you have to differentiate between pain and lactic acid. If it's lactic acid, it might be good. But if it's actual sharp pain that's causing you pain, don't do them. Now, I have a number of exercises for scoliosis on my channel. So once this is over, if you go to the playlist section, go to exercises, try out all 7 exercises. You probably don't need, if you have scoliosis, you probably don't need the last 3. But try those and see if it helps with your pain in between your shoulder blades. I'm willing to bet that the Superman exercise, the founder exercise, the plank, and the side plank exercise, if you do those 4, you might find those will not hurt your shoulders. Okay? So hopefully that helps you, Constance. By the way, since people are watching again, give me some good emojis. I like these emojis that are coming on. And then also there's a little dollar signature there. That's called Super Chat. So if you want to donate anything to my channel, I greatly appreciate it. Let's see here. Let's see. Doctor, are you in diet or vegetarian because you in good shape? It's a good question. Am I on a diet? The answer is yes. I'm on a health diet. Am I vegetarian? 95% of the time. You can't really, here's the thing, man. Everybody wants to classify you. Do you do keto? Are you a keto? Are you a vegan? Are you a vegetarian? Are you a lacto-ovo vegetarian? Are you this? Are you that? Everybody needs a name. Everybody wants a name. You can't really name what I do, but I would say watch my channel, go to playlists, go to the nutrition. It's all on there. It's all on there. Everything you see is what I eat. And I'm going to say 95% of it is vegetarian. Let's see. Scoliosis again. It is actual pain. Then Constance, you got to not do it. You gotta not do it. Don't, whatever exercise is causing you actual pain, doing it more isn't gonna get better. Yeah. Let's see, did it bring more mobility into your spine? Strength? I'm not sure where you're going with that, Steve, but I think, yeah. Is eating garlic daily keeps all types of flu virus away? How many cloves per day? Okay, so that's a good question. What did I eat for dinner? Remember in the movie Goodfellas? Hey, listen, has anybody seen Goodfellas? Remember that movie? Every time I chop garlic, I think of the movie Goodfellas. And I think every guy does, doesn't he? So I had garlic today. I try not to eat garlic the day before I see a lot of patients. And it should be obvious why, because the more raw the garlic, the better, the healthier it is for you. Garlic will help you, it will help your immune system fight off infections and things of that nature. Also, viruses, bacteria, fungus, they don't like garlic. You put them in a petri dish, they run away from the garlic. Garlic is not a drug, so you can't say 400 milligrams of garlic. So I would say eat garlic once a day if you can, if you're not around people and you don't stink. Okay. Okay, do you believe the gallbladder is restorable? What do you mean? If they remove your gallbladder? Kind of rephrase the question. I don't know what restorable means. I'm assuming you had your gallbladder removed and you can't regrow a gallbladder. Okay, so there's a guy saying artificial light is bad. Well, of course it's bad, but you can't work outside every day, unfortunately. In theory, what would be the easiest core exercise for your back if you suffer from a disc bulge at L4, L5? Tried side planks and they cause more pain. Thought about Superman's, but in Stuart McGill's book, he says it's not. No, if you have a herniated disc, don't do the Supermans. So you're gonna do the, you're gonna learn to contract the abdominal muscles, so the Stuart McGill crunch, if you will. You do the bird dogs, and then you do the side planks. My guess is, and I've seen this many times, you're probably doing the side planks with your feet on the ground and your elbow. Don't do them that way. Start out with either being on your knees, the way Stuart McGill says in his book, Body Mechanic. And I did a review of that book, by the way. Just type in Stuart McGill on my channel on the search function. You'll see, I'll give you some details about it later. But the thing is that, where was I going with that? Oh, you're probably doing the side planks wrong, or you're trying to do them in the most advanced way, the aggressive way, so it's too much for you. So you could do them with your hands on the ground. You could do them on your knees, and very often, usually I can get a patient that has a herniated disc at L4, L5 to do a side plank without pain. But it's very often, it's different than what you see on YouTube. So I would go to his book and look at stuff. What has been my toughest case? Honestly, the toughest cases are the ones where they want to fight you on everything. It's not always tough from a physical point of view, because the way I look at humans, the way I look at patients is, what can I help and what can I not help? So if I have an 87-year-old, I'm not going to make him feel like he's 20. So I have very realistic expectations. So if I have an 87-year-old who comes in, and I have a video of me treating, I remember it was 87. I have a lot of 87-year-olds, but I was treating them, and you'll see I was using the arthroskim, I was doing adjustments. It's not that it's difficult to adjust them, it's that you have to have realistic expectations as to what you're going to achieve. When a person comes in who's super old, a lot of problems, my goal is any improvement at all. And if we can get a little bit of improvement, we're going to go for a little more. And if we get a little more improvement, we can get a little more. And we just try to keep improving like that. So it isn't that they're tough cases. It's that it's that if they're willing to be okay with that, then I will work with them. The toughest cases are the ones who come in and they're like, well, I have a disc herniation at L4, L5. It's 12 millimeters and I want to be fixed in one visit. Those are the toughest cases. So personally, the toughest cases I have is dealing with people's expectations. So, because you have to be realistic. You can't fix everyone to perfect. You just want to get them in better. Okay. My GI doctor wants to remove my gallbladder. I do get a lot of heartburn and sometimes constipation. Do you think it's possible to fix it naturally? Well, first read the disclaimer down below. I don't know. I mean, there's no way for me to know about your gallbladder condition, but if the doctor wants to remove it and you don't feel comfortable with it, if it's not an emergency case where the gallbladder is really giving you trouble, and you're in an emergency room right now, then what I would do is I would go and get a second opinion. Because people that have a lot of gallstones, for example, if you change your diet, it's possible to improve the health of your gallbladder. But if the doctor wants to remove it, there's probably a reason why. If you don't feel comfortable, then I would get a second opinion. But there's no way for me to diagnose you over my iPhone, you know. But I think you should, if you're not feeling comfortable, I get a second opinion, you know, just to be sure. Unless it's an emergency, then you have no choice. What are the signs of posture-related back pain? Well, the signs are the person has pain or stiffness in their body. That would be clue number one. Clue number two is when you look at someone, when I look at someone's posture, I look at them, there's what's called, we all learn in school, a three Cartesian coordinate system. So there's an X, there's a Y, and a Z. So is their head translated forward or back? Is it to the side like this, or is it rotated? So when you're looking at someone's posture, you're looking for things that are deviations of what's considered normal. The hard part is not everybody's perfect and everybody's built differently. So what you have to know is this normal for that type of person or is this related? Also, I will usually test their muscles. So what I look for is symmetry. I would rather have a patient who is rock hard tight. Just every muscle just should be stretched, but they're symmetrical. That would be awesome. The worst patient is where one side, like a hip flexor, is super loose and one side is super tight. That's a case there for posture that they would have postural types of back pain. I think that's what you're asking. So if I didn't answer your question, let me know. Okay, a couple more minutes here. Is it also possible to fix your posture without ever doing any special exercises, but holding your back straighter? The answer, Steve, is no. Sorry. You got to put the work in. You know, a lot of times, and this is again, what are the toughest cases? Heather asked me, the toughest cases are when people want their posture checked and they want their posture changed, but they don't want to do the exercises. That's hard. So the answer to your question is it possible to fix your posture without ever doing exercises? No, impossible. Does self-massage help neck pain? Yes. I'm actually going to do a video of this, but you'll have to go to my cycling channel to see it, because I'm going to do it. I actually do a lot of self-massage on my legs, and particularly for cycling. And sometimes if I go for, like today, this morning I did a long bike ride, and I'll probably do a little massage on my legs tonight, just 'cause it feels good. And yeah, so self-massage can help. So we're going to do this a couple more minutes and then we'll summarize. So again, if you haven't asked any questions yet, ask away. Also, there's a little dollar symbol there if you'd like to donate something to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. You can choose how much you want to donate, even if it's 99 cents or something like that. We we do have people come. We're near LAX. You know, it's not that far away from if you fly to Los Angeles International Airport. We're about an hour north. So if you ever need me, just let me know. We also do phone consultations. So if you want specific, if you want to be like right in front of me, almost like a Skype or a thing where we can examine your case, I can gain a lot of information just by talking with you. So if you call, we're busy Monday, but if you call on Wednesday, you can ask my staff if we can schedule a phone consultation. And that way I can really dig into your type of case and give you some insight as to what to do over the phone. It's not the same as, I can't adjust you over the phone, over the telephone, but I can give you a lot of insight. You know what? For Heather, it's an old video, but I did make a video. If you go to my channel and go to the search function and type in massage tools, I actually did a video about all the different massage tools that are available. And there's a lot of good things to buy. So I tell you what I think works and what I think is kind of a waste of money. Sometimes a tennis ball is the best that you can do. How do I feel about the coronavirus? I'm a dude. I have no feelings. I don't know what the question is. I don't have feelings about it. It just is what it is. If you have a specific question about it, I'll ask, but I don't know I don't really have feelings towards it. How long should neck pain last? Well, my goal is to try to get you to never have neck pain. Neck pain should not last. I think what you're probably asking is if you have an injury like a car accident or something like that. That's probably what you're asking, I assume, right? The answer is it depends on the injury. So if you had a car accident and you were severely injured, your neck pain could feasibly last a lifetime. If you had a minor injury, it could last a couple weeks. If you sprain your neck, it could last 3 or 4 days. So I'm not really sure where to go with that of how long should your neck pain last. I've heard some chiropractors performing something called muscle test, energy tests on patients. Any idea of what I'm talking about? Well, I test muscles, so this is something where if someone has an injury, I'll give you the best example. This is for Marie Antoinette. Is sometimes people will injure their muscles in their shoulder, and I want to know, number one, is the muscle torn? So what you do is let me see if I can do this. You'll put their arm out like so and push down. Now what I'm testing right there is a muscle called a supraspinatus muscle. It's a muscle of the rotator cuff. And if the muscle is partially torn, they won't be able to hold their arm up very strong. And so then if I test their infraspinatus, and how you do that is you put your arm out like this, you push here, and they will push out like that. So you could test that muscle. And you can usually tell if something's torn through a proper exam, and you confirm it by testing the muscle. I think that's what you're asking. So the other thing regarding muscle testing is sometimes if they have a pinched nerve, or if a muscle has not been used in a long time, it will present itself as a certain weakness. It won't lock. And what I mean by lock is if you ever drive a car and hit the brakes real hard and you lock up the wheels and the wheels skid, that is what I'm talking about. So very often I will test muscles of the shoulder, I will test muscles of the hip, such as the hip flexors, and we want to see if those muscles are able to lock. Now, if they're not able to lock, usually what that means is the person has a hard time stabilizing that joint. So then I further investigate and I look at, well, is there something wrong with the joint itself? Is there something wrong with the capsule of the joint? Because usually that is compensatory to a problem, but they could have a muscle problem. So I do a lot of muscle testing when people have, I would say more often, shoulders and hips in my practice. But I hate saying this all the time, but if you go to playlists, there's a section that says examples of treatment. And there was one, I think it's on my website too, of I saw a local dancer who was, she was 12 years old. And she was like on her way to professional dancing. And she had an ankle injury. And I tested the muscles of her ankle. And it was really fascinating how an adjustment of the ankle just literally restored the muscle function. So that may be what you're talking about. I'm not sure, but if it wasn't, let me know. Let's see. Hi, doctor from Arizona. Hey. Martha Jones, if a person has a torn muscle in the shoulder, how long will it take to heal? Well, that's just it. It's too hard to know if a muscle, so think of a muscle like this. These are the fibers of the muscle. If I have a minor tear, this is torn. Well, I still have 80% of the muscle left. You're probably now 80% functional, which for most people is actually fine. But if you completely tear the muscle apart, it's not healing on its own. It's either never gonna be the same, or if you get to it soon enough, you could have it surgically repaired, but you gotta get to it soon enough. And I think what you may be asking is if you tear a rotator cuff, because that's the most common thing people tear. And if you tear a rotator cuff, you got to get into the surgeon quickly. If you don't get into the surgeon quickly, once the tissue tears, if it becomes fibrotic and necrotic, they can't take dead tissue and stitch it back together. And this brings us back to that same question of what's your toughest case? Toughest case is where you can't fix them. You can't fix them. I've had numerous patients that have had torn rotator cuffs and they never saw a doctor and never got it fixed, and their shoulder's never the same. They can never raise it past 90 degrees. It just never works. So hopefully that answers your question. Love your bike videos. Thanks, man. Me too. You know what's funny about some of those cycling videos is the cycling videos take longer to edit. So one cycling video I did where I climbed Mount Baldy, and I don't remember, it was at 6,000 feet or something like that. So we drove to Mount Baldy. That was about 3 hours. We rode up Mount Baldy. That took 4 hours of just constant climbing. And then we watched the tour of California, and then we came down, drove home. I think I spent 7 hours editing that video. And then it got demonetized. And the reason why was because I was riding my bike up a turn, and some guy in his car had music on. So I loaded the video onto YouTube and it got flagged as a copyright. So I'm like, oh man, so they took that portion out. So now I got a dead spot in my video. But if you want to see, hey, Michael Serwin, dude, you gave me some good bike. Michael Serwin's a Patreon. So that's the other thing is if you want to be a Patreon, get special treatment, join my Patreon. And if you do that, I will make videos if you ask just for you. And so anyway, I appreciate you liking my cycling videos. Go type in to YouTube cycling in Southern California. Look for my new channel. I only have about 9 subscribers right now, and I think one of them is my brother. I think one's my wife and one is my mom. So technically I probably have only 6 people watching that channel. I don't even think my kids subscribe to that channel. They don't want to hear it. All right, so here's the thing. One more question. We're at 59 minutes. One more question, and then I'll wrap it up. So Amanda here, I had a hysterectomy. Okay. My hips and lower spine have been in pain ever since. Yes, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. Are there any exercises I can do? I have lower back scoliosis. Yes, there are exercises you can do. So once we're done here, if you go to my channel, go to playlists, there are all my videos divided up into sections. So there's nutritional videos, there's cycling videos, there's examples of treatment. So if you want to watch me treat patients, that's fine. But there's a channel for core exercises, and without me examining your spine, and that is the best thing you can do. I've numbered the exercises to make it easy. It's numbered 1 through 7. Most of my patients, I never even get to the last 3 because they're actually feeling fine from just the 4. And so you don't have to do all 7, but definitely look at them. And there's other videos that will help you understand why these strange little exercises are being done when every other exercise on YouTube seems to be counterintuitive, right? So watch the videos and get to work and see what happens. If you can't come and see me, go get some extra help from another chiropractor. So hey, let me summarize this. Here's the deal. If you want to become a Patreon on my channel, there's a thing down below. It says become a Patreon and a link. You can become a Patreon. I do appreciate that. It helps support me for this. And then also, what we're doing now, especially during this pandemic, is if you have a particular problem that you need some guidance with, we do phone consultations. So how it works is you call my office, we schedule a time for you as if you were coming into my office. And how I treat you is just as if you were standing right in front of me. So the first thing I want to do is find out all the details about what your symptoms are. I'm going to ask you 100 questions. You may not know all the answers, but I'm asking for a reason. I want to know the details. I want to make sure I understand what your condition is. And then I will try to guide you to see if we can get some improvement in your condition. So those are phone consultations. There is a fee for it, of course, because it's just like coming into my office, but it's nominal. So call my office next week and we can do that for you. So foundation movements. Yes, foundation movements. I like. Actually, last thing, I keep saying last thing. The foundation guy, he is about a half hour away from me. And he's in a different city, but literally I could ride my bike to and from his office. So thanks for watching me, guys. I will do another live chat for you probably in about 2 weeks. I'm not sure what days are best to do this because I don't know who's always watching. I just base it on my time when it's convenient for me. We're in this pandemic all together and I'm stuck at home, not doing much. So I'm either gonna play guitar, I'm gonna paint, I'll do some workouts, and that's all I do now. So I thought Saturday night would be a good night to do it. So I will let you know in advance and I will try different times. And again, for the people that donated tonight, thank you very much. If you still want to do it, there's that super chat down there. If you'd like to donate anything to the channel, I greatly appreciate it. And you guys have a good night, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. So hopefully you like that. I do appreciate you guys for watching. So I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you. All right, I'm gonna shut down.